Welcome to the Berlin Drawing Room.
Hi, my name is Mira, and today we're going to make a herbarium sheet together. Herbariums are used for identifying, categorizing, and collecting plant specimens. Herbariums can be used to document what kinds of plants grow in a specific location. For example, in our case, a vacant lot near the Berlin Drawing Room studio. In this video, I will take you through the steps of creating a herbarium sheet: collecting your specimen, pressing your specimen, and mounting your specimen. Then you will be ready to start your very own herbarium. It's surprising, actually, how many different types of specimen one can find, even in a very urban environment. So we are actually right now in Berlin Mitte, and you might not know it because there's such a variety of vegetation here. A lot of different specimens to choose from to collect and identify for your herbarium sheet. So when you're collecting your specimen, it's good to have a knife and a basket. You want to look for a specimen that has as many different parts of the plant representative in one specimen. So here in this corner alone, we have a lot of different things to choose from. We have a beautiful specimen of Herb Robert here in the corner, an important medicinal plant. We have some red clover, we have some stinging nettle, we have some dandelions, we have some mugwort. We have here also some plantains. In fact, wow, this is an enormous plantain leaf. Look at that. This is quite a good medicinal plant to use for cuts or abrasions. You can actually just use it as nature's band-aid. So I think, because this is such a fabulous specimen, we are going to go for some Herb Robert today. So this is Herb Robert. We are going to be looking for a specimen, and we can also take more than one. We have here the flowers, the leaves, the stem, as well as the seed pods. So that's really good to have all of those things going on in one specimen. So I've just cut off a branch here. One kind of funny thing about the Herb Robert is that although it's quite pretty with the pink flowers, it smells disgusting. It smells terrible. So just to be on the safe side, I'm going to get a couple more branches. Herb Robert, or Geranium robertianum, has documented medicinal use going back to the 1st century. It is currently being studied as a potential treatment for cancer. The unique chemical compounds found in this plant help to deliver more oxygen to the cells, and this in turn helps the body to fight disease. So this is really already plenty. So I'm going to put these in my basket. And since this red clover is looking so beautiful here, I think I'm going to take some of that as well. Mugwort has been used for centuries as a medicinal plant, and something that I learned recently that I think is really interesting is that these can be dried and then tied together and burned and used to purify the energy in a space. So this needs to be positioned so that it fits completely on the page. You'll see why that's important later when we mount our pressed specimens. So I've removed a couple branches here that weren't fitting. It's looking a little thick in here. I might remove one more branch because we have quite a lot of branches here. It's not absolutely necessary to have them all. We just want each part of the plant, to be represented. So I am also using, this is actually the kind of paper that people use when they're painting walls, like as a drop cloth, cover the floors, but I'm using it because it's quite absorbent and smooth, and it works really well actually in the plant press. And then you can also put cardboard in between. If you have a particularly wet or juicy specimen, you can also use baking paper, parchment paper. So this heavy piece of wood comes on top. If you don't happen to have a plant press, just use a couple of heavy books as a weight, or clamp two boards together using C-clamps. And then it's just time to tighten the pressure. And then when you have a lot of specimens all on top of each other like this, it can take a while, up to even a couple of weeks, for them to dry completely. Sometimes I open it up and let it air out in between so that they don't start to rot, because they need to get pressed and they also need to dry. But if you just have one specimen, then it can go a lot faster. Even just in a few days, it might be ready. You can open it up and check on them, see how they're doing. So once your specimens are completely dry, then we're ready to open the press and begin the mounting process. What's nice about this specimen is that you have the entire plant here. I'm going to be mounting this on a piece of white cardstock paper. So you want to arrange your specimen so that it completely fits on the paper. And I'm going to be using as glue something called matte medium, which is actually something used by painters. And the reason why I use it is because it's an acid-free glue. So that means that it's archival and it won't yellow over time. Very carefully start putting glue underneath the leaves and just some of the bigger areas. I'm using a brush here. A palette knife can also be pretty useful for lifting up delicate sections. So some of these leaves have gotten a bit folded over in the pressing process, and I might actually just try to coax them back into place. They're quite brittle now. So now you can see those flowers a little bit better too. It's important to show with every herbarium specimen the front and back side of the leaf. But here we have so many flowers and leaves just in this one specimen that there's no problem there. So where you have some of the thicker stems, I just take a strip of paper and I cut it real thin, and then I just use the same glue with these strips of paper to actually hold the stems in place. So these can just... This is the herbarium that I've been creating with my students in the botanical watercolor workshop at the Berlin Drawing Room for several years now. We've been collecting the weeds that grow around the studio in Kreuzberg and creating this herbarium. St. John's wort, yarrow, another yarrow, coutweed, greater calendine,
For current workshop offerings, please visit our website. Thank you for watching.